I'll take you on a bit of the fruit route.
Yes, please.
And I'll explain a bit on the way. It's not the best, I must admit, because it's overgrown quite a lot. But we'll be able to see a bit. I've done some size work here, you see.
Yeah.
Beginning to use the size more and more. It's quite good for if you're working with wildflowers and things like that. I'm not very good at it, I might add.
Over the years.
Yeah. This was a gooseberry there, which did have gooseberries on. I don't know what happened to them, but probably the wildlife. This is just completely overgrown. There's only a couple of things that you can recognise from the original planting, although that is a currant there. Look, there's a couple of currants over the back there. You'll probably have difficulty seeing them on the film. You'll see the cherry in the middle, which was the original tree that was planted in here. It's very interesting to note how weeds differ from cultivated plants in the method that they grow. Most weeds that we see here have got very strong root systems, and that's how they survive. When you cultivate plants, the cultivated plants tend to have good berries or whatever, but not necessarily such a strong root system. This is here it got eaten by the bunnies. It's a thornless loganberry.
Okay.
That got severely eaten by the bunnies, but it's hanging on in there, which is good. And yeah, I mean, all of this needs a lot of work doing to it, of course it does. There's the hazels, of course. These were planted in when was it? 96. So a while back now. And the silver birches are planted at the same time. The silver birches are dying, as you can say. That's fungal infection that causes that, or I believe it's fungal infection. They do suffer with that quite a lot, and it's typical that you'll get the leaves come out and then die. There's one or two leaves still on, and as you can see, it's producing seed. But it looks as if its days are numbered. And I've been through here cutting all this back. You wouldn't believe it, would you?
It's amazing how quickly it grows.
Yeah. Right. Obviously, with COVID, you couldn't get onto it immediately as I would like to. Then we've got several bits that are planted around here.
Yes, I think I planted a tree or two in here.
Yeah.
Under your guidance.
These are the 2013 enclosures. And you can see a cherry on it. It's had cherries on it.
Oh yeah.
Not been. This is a wild cherry, 2013. It was done when the badgers were done.
Yeah.
And we were given the plants to plant. And a wild cherry was amongst them. So that's had cherries on. So that's good. This is Irish peach, which is an apple tree, which, as you can see, has got apples on.
Yeah, quite a few nice looking ones.
They're a very early apple. They'll not be very big, and there's not that many. But it did have a couple of apples last year.
For a small tree, there's quite a few on there.
It's not doing too bad, no.
Should it have been 10, do you think?
I'm not too worried about that. It needs. It's the same old story. It needs a root system, which is doing better than it is to support the tree that it's got.
Yeah.
I've done quite a lot of work inside here, although it doesn't look like it. Yeah. Oh, you can see that I've been doing some work in there, can't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is all size work that's done, and it needs so much more. But you can only do so much.
Is there another pair there?
There's another pair there, yeah. And that's a Siberian pea shrub, which I thought would be good for here because it'd be a nitrogen fixer. You could, oh, you probably can't see from here. Just down this black horehound. Some of the wildflowers that are here, we're very keen to save. Black horehound is one of them because it's the favourite food of the shrill carder bee.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, we haven't noticed that we've got shrill carder bee, although they have been recorded in this area. We do have the brown-banded carder bee, which is nearly as rare, just as rare, something like that. And we're very pleased to have that, of course. And part of the long grass that you see, and the reason that we leave some of it long, is because you need that long grass for the carder bees, because they are above ground nesters.
Okay.
Nest in the clumps of old grass. And some of these enclosures here, it's very difficult to see. But you may very well recognise this as bulbils and flower from the Babington leek.
Oh yeah.
Now, on previous years they've had bulbils, but on this year they've got bulbils and flowers. And I'm not quite sure why that is. And there's trees in here as well, which there's an apple there, look, it's really struggling to survive. It's been so dry. And it's got 2 apples on it, look, and they're minute. But it is struggling because it's been so dry. The only thing really we can do is to mulch, and that we'll do as much as we can. There's a rowan here.
Did you plant raised trees somewhere along in this area?
This is the one that Ollie planted with Flavia.
Ah.
So you can just see it inside the guard there. Yeah, raised tree didn't survive. It was this problem of having enough root for the amount of top it needs to support.
Story of her gardening life, I guess.
Well, really, much of what you see in this field, all of these hazels and silver birches, they all benefited from raised attention. So the fact that the tree we planted in her memory has died still doesn't, it's very little compared with the huge amount of work we put in.
Absolutely.
On these trees that were here. This is a little interesting here. You'll see that this is an oak tree growing alongside of an apple here. Co-planted, we say. It makes it sound as if you've done it on purpose, doesn't it? Whereas, of course, the oak tree grew accidentally in the same pot that the apple was in. And I daren't separate them from intermingling of roots. To tell you a little bit about this, you'll see there's a bit of an elm sucker here. Yeah? That's elm suckers all over the place. This is East Anglian elm. And all of the elm which was planted in this field has been grown from seed. So although it's suckering from one to another, it was actually planted from seed. This is one here, East Anglian elm, as I said, grown from seed. As you can see over there, there's a bit of dieback. We'll walk along here and we'll look a bit more at the elms. As you can see, there's lots of young suckers here.
Are they all self?
They're all suckers. They're all suckers.
Okay.
But as I say, the original plants were all grown from seed.
By you? Was it?
Yeah, by me. The interesting thing about elm is that they will tell you it won't grow from seed.
Okay.
They say which elm grows from seed, but English elm doesn't, and maybe English elm doesn't, but this East Anglian elm, on some years, only some years, it'll grow from seed. The point of growing it from seed is you get genetic variation, And if you get genetic variation, there is a possibility, very slight, grant you, it's a possibility you'll get one that's resistant to Dutch elm disease. Now, I don't know if you noticed when you came through the farm, in the farm there are two very, very old elms. They've been there for ages and they've really not had a sign of Dutch elm disease at all.
Right.
Last year, or was it the year before last? I think it was the year before last. One of them broke it had become hollow and it got a bad twist on it, and it had broken in a wind. It wasn't a particularly high wind, but it did break and come down. So clearly it was stressed quite a lot. It's now got Dutch elm disease.
Right.
So I don't know if the stress has affected its susceptibility of Dutch elm disease. Be very interested to know if that is the case, because of course things like ash with ash dieback, you don't know how much other stress factors are affecting. Because with trees there is often a lot of stress factors, which I mean we ought to investigate more, especially when we talk about urban trees, because everyone, we even call them street trees, but the worst place to put a tree is by a road. It's just the worst place. You need to have wide boulevards if you're going to put the trees in, really. It's difficult, but it's half the routes are gone by the time you put it right next to it, the road. But there you go. I'll show you a bit more on this side. There's more elm there. These elms, these were looking lovely last year. This year,
Oh yeah.
absolute rubbish. Absolute rubbish. These are trees that I'm measuring, so I can tell you how much they have or haven't grown. Of course, at the moment, none haven't. There's another Siberian pea here, look. And one or two other bits and pieces growing in there, some wild apple, crab apple, and wild pear over here. It's nice to have these growing because you'll get associated with the roots. You'll get lots of good stuff happening, bacteria and worms and stuff associated with the roots of trees.